Sure.
Hello, hi viewers. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Varshapal. Welcome to my podcast. Just remember of a classic tale, King Bruce and the Spider, where illustrates perseverance and resilience. Of course, where a king is inspired just by a spider after multiple defeats, finds inspiration in Spider's relentless attempts to weave its web, which ultimately led to success and victory. So here is Dr. Muthukumar M, who is an example of indomitable spirit and willpower to fight against all the challenges in the life. I cordially invite Dr. Muthukumar M, Assistant Professor, IIT Kanpur. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for that generous introduction, Varsha. I'm very happy to meet you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I wanted to ask you, you did your BA, right? MA, and then moved to PhD. Am I right?
Yes.
How was this whole journey?
Yes. Um, Actually, soon after I finished my intermediate, that is 12th standard, as usual, like any other student of school, plus two, I was thinking about what to study in my graduation. Obviously, like any other person, I was thinking about getting into engineering. So I was applying, and I was you know applying for this counseling in uh, originally I'm born and brought up in Tamil Nadu. So naturally we end up uh, applying for this Anna University counseling. Okay, so then when I got this counseling, application prospectus, I saw that there was a sentence, but I misread that sentence. Actually, that is the interesting thing. Actually, so my whole journey into English started by misreading this English sentence that was in the prospectus.
I'm curious
Okay,
to
in
know what is the
the
sentence.
yeah, so in the engineering prospectus, the sentence goes like this: for if a physically challenged person wants to apply for engineering counseling, he or she I think he or she should not have um, less than 40 percentage disability. That is what the sentence went like this.
Okay,
Then
40%
for
disability. Is
he
it
or she should not have less than 40 percentage disability.
okay?
So for me, the disability is 90 percentage. So I thought they are saying those who have, a less than 40 percentage disability only can apply for engineering. Those who have more disability, that is more than 40 percentage, should not apply for engineering. That is how I misread that sentence actually. So that made me upset, and then I cannot study engineering like that. I was thinking, and then of course people advised me, a lot of advice you get, but some advices are good enough. So one of my father's friend who works in the government college in my hometown, Shivaganga. So he said, he can do either English or mathematics. He will become he will really, be really come up in life like that. He said. So my obvious choice was English because again mathematics. I didn't score very well in mathematics in the 12th, and also mathematics, it is all the things will be written in the board actually. So you have to see the board and take down everything. So that will be difficult for me, and I have to depend on some other person. So naturally I thought, I think in college education I should not depend on people for my academics. So I thought I will take English. So that is how I took English. Not, that I had exposure, to literature, in, to literature, before I, started the course. I didn't have any exposure to literature, because it comes with culture of reading also. No, some houses nurture that culture right from the early age. So there is a kind, there is some amount of cultural capital, there. People born into some houses who has the opportunity of getting nurtured by their parents and surroundings, in terms of reading. So that kind of a brought up I didn't have actually, like any other school student just studying the subjects. Maybe I have read a few supplementary readings like Scarlet Pimpernel in my
Yeah.
12th standard, or this Shakespearean, this funeral oration of Mark Antony and
Even I love Scarlet Pimpernel.
Brutus.
Interesting
Yeah,
novel.
correct. Yeah. So Mark Antony and Brutus, that that funeral oration we read in 12. So these are very, very limited, very small exposure to literature. I have never seen a novel before coming to the um, undergraduate. So that kind of an exposure only with undergraduate in Bishop Heber College, which is in Tiruchirappalli. Yeah. So then 3 years went on in Bishop Heber, but of course with a lot of lot of sadness I joined, because I was a science student in my
Yeah.
12th, physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology. So I was thinking, what is this classes? They are telling stories. They are just telling stories, and what am I doing here? Like that, that kind of a thinking I had when I started my undergraduate. Actually, I was also, I was even thinking of changing my, branch after some time to biology, zoology, or botany, like that.
Biology. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I was very much interested in biology during my 12th, and of course, I scored highest mark in my in biology actually. So yeah, so but of course, then I studied, but it was during postgraduate times only I got really interested in literature. Of course, in UG also studied very well. That's fine, but the interest in literature, came in my postgraduate days, which I did in Bharatidasan University, and that is when I got um, I came to understand the importance of literature as a discipline. Then studied continue in the university for MPhil also. So did MPhil, and then I joined PhD in NIT Tiruchirappalli in August, 12th of August 2014. So under Professor Vinod Balakrishnan. So that is a life-changing moment actually.
I'm fortunate to have
Because
you as my senior.
I am very fortunate to have Professor Balakrishnan as my mentor. Actually. So in all spheres, academically, in personal life, everything. So that's
I
a great.
really know Dr. Vinod sir is amazing. I know as a person. So
Yes,
I'm
as a
pretty sure I
person
can see
and
that
as
in
a
his
scholar.
content. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see that.
and as a scholar, both
Yeah.
as a teacher. So that is fantastic. Still, the relationship is going
True
great actually.
human being, I think that's
Yes.
the right word, Yeah.
Yes.
So his knowledge is I don't think his knowledge is it's too extensive in especially in literature, I
Yes.
feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah. So anyway, I was wanting to know about your research topic. Can you just share
Okay,
about it?
sure. Actually, during my PhD, I worked on Northeast India. So that is the seven sisters, or in fact, eight sisters of
Mhm.
India. So literatures and cultural texts, from and about the region. So that is what I worked, focusing on the idea called subnationalism. So that is the research focus. Yes,
Actually, I've been looking into your research interest. So you had some special reference to subnationalism, which is Northeast
yes,
culture in English, and then critical theory, and then Tamil literature and cultural studies as
yes,
well. So,
yes.
what is this suddenly a shift from English literature to Tamil literature? Is there any
Uh,
connection?
Not, I read Tamil always.
Okay.
So of course, I want to write on modern Tamil literature, uh,
Okay.
especially novels
Okay.
and short stories in Tamil.
Okay.
So I'm of late I'm interested in that. I'm just reading up things, but not yet. I have not yet started anything substantially. But down the line, I will do it actually, because I'm interested in modern literature from Tamil actually. So not a shift means. Um, of course, there are very, you know, very good writing comes from Tamil, like any other Indian languages. No, you have Kannada, Malayalam, Bengali, and then Marathi and Urdu. So all these, of course, Hindi. So all these languages, produce, you know, very good modern literatures. Modern literature thrives, um, comparing Indian writing in English actually. So and I know Tamil thing is so how many professions give the opportunity to write. So academics is one place where you get the opportunity to write your your ideas and expressions. In science, it is your
Laboratory.
that which comes from your mind actually. So that is a great thing about academics. So that opportunity is inbuilt within the profession actually. So in other professions, they have to take time from their professional time to write, but in academics you have this opportunity to write, which is inbuilt within the profession itself. That's a rewarding thing. And of course, why writing means you are expressing your idea, and it is being it is being um, it goes to everybody, and people are engaging with it. Though it is for professional requirement, people are engaging with it. Fine, people are in that manner also. People are engaging with your work, and so that is these are all very rewarding thing. And PhD is about 5 years. Uh, you know, just focusing on one particular thing, one particular aspect, and then completing it. So that itself gives a kind of a satisfaction. So these are all very rewarding thing. It is like you are constantly you are focusing on a particular thing, and then finally you are I will not say completing. You are finally you are you know um, giving it a shape and submitting it. So that itself is a rewarding.
Just wanted to ask you, PhD journey is generally a roller coaster, right? No, a few days are good, few days are not good. There's ups and downs, emotional turbulence, mood swings. Few days are not productive. So how do you deal with this stress? How do you have a work-life balance?
Uh, my I am I don't know, very roller coaster. My life is like, like this kind of, uh, I don't know, I will not say straight line actually. Of course, I also have, ups and downs there, but I don't want to, I don't want to bother about those things too much, uh, you know. So that is what I always try to do. I should not put them inside my mind and thinking about it. So that will actually create more trouble to you. Put those things in your mind and then think about it. So that will create more trouble. Instead of that, okay, these things are there, these things will be there, we should we should just keep going, we should
Yeah,
pass them and go. So that kind of an attitude I always have every in all walks of life, and in you know till my life, I think I will have that kind of attitude that anything will happen, but life must go on actually. So that is the
I take
attitude
note of
I uh,
I take note of it. It's useful for
yeah,
me.
yeah, that's okay. But that is what I always think about. Of course, you will have these things. For example, your paper will get rejected. Your something which you are writing, but it will not come up well. But rejection, we cannot do anything actually about a paper getting rejected, because it is from the other side it is getting rejected. Then maximum, if the reviewers have if the reviewers are kind enough, and if they have given comments, we can take the comment, and then we can take stock of our own work, and then we can improve it and send it to the next venue. That is the only thing we can do actually. There is no point in brooding about the rejection actually.
Right.
Other thing is about your work. Something, if something is not coming out when you are writing, then you try it again and again. You just be there and focus your put your concentration on that particular idea, and just constantly contemplate on it. I always tell, especially the humanities research, contemplation is very important actually. Thinking is very important. If you have one idea, for example, nation as an object of inquiry, then you just think about nation in different possibilities, uh, you know different angles. You just think. That is the only way out actually. And if you do that, it will come. Things will happen. Yeah.
Right.
And other emotional turbulences, ups and downs. Of course, you will have emotional. This. Sometimes you will be happy. Sometimes you will feel bad. But you need to. You can share with somebody.
Mhm.
Mostly, that is a good thing. You can share with that person who is your confidant. You know who
Mhm.
can talk to you. So you can share with them, or you just you know um, just forget and go go ahead. That is the
I
that
agree.
is the only thing actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go forward. That is the only thing actually. Yeah, I don't know. They will, maybe people will say he is very indifferent to these things. I don't know.
So you
My approach might be termed as being indifferent to everything. I don't know.
so I
But
think you're a motivator. I mean, You've already motivated us. You are a motivator. There's no
No,
point.
not like that. I'm saying no, that as if something ups and downs and all come, you need to just go on. That's it. So people may interpret it as indifference to your emotional emotional um, turbulences, ups and downs. So is it like you are calling for indifference? So I'm not saying indifferent, but what can you do actually? You need to you know get that, and then you need to come out and go further. That is the only thing we can do. Yeah.
Um, recently we were talking about the emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual
Yes.
reality. So what is your
Yes.
understanding and take of it?
Truly, I don't have any. I'm not.
So I'm asking in the
But
perspective of
uh,
research, very influencing.
research.
Yeah, that's my question. Is it
Yes.
influencing people a
Yes.
lot?
It is influencing, but I have not engaged with it that much. But for example, in the US and all, they have started using it for research itself. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. But here also people are using it. People use it for wrong reasons. They just produce writing through chat gpt. Those things are unacceptable. Of course you can write your material and then you can use it to correct. You can use artificial intelligence to fine tune your writing. That you can do,
yeah.
but you should
Generating
not
ideas,
start
right?
you should not start writing through artificial intelligence. Then your linguistic ability will go off. So those problems are there, and ideas getting generated by artificial intelligence. So all these things are little I don't know how to take these things, because we are just in that moment actually. So in that juncture we are actually. So I don't know how to evaluate these things, because I'm not that much I'm not that much
So, I.
how can I say? I'm not that much thought about it actually. That is the right word. So I have not that much thought about. But students are using AI even in our place. Students are using AI. You know. So, but let's see how future. 5 years later, what are we? How are things going to
Yeah,
change? Nobody knows actually. But that is the thing, it can be used to enhance our work. It can be used as an aid to enhance human effort. But human effort, especially intellectual effort of human beings, should not be outsourced to artificial intelligence. That is a big problem. The intellectual labor should be done by human beings. It should not be outsourced to AI. It can be used to used to after the intellectual labor, it can be used to fine tune the product, fine tune the product of our labor. That for that you can use, but straight away substituting AI for our intellectual labor will cause great threat for humanity. So I take this from Gayatri Spivak actually. One of the interviews she was, Gayatri Spivak is a post-colonial intellectual in English, studies, in literary studies. So she was talking about, how artificial intelligence should not be a substitute for intellectual labor. Intellectual labor should be with the human beings, and AI can, help us in solving, important, problems of our world. That can be used for healthcare, for all these things we can use, but it should not become a substitute for intellectual labor. That's what my take on this issue is this. intellectual labor should not be outsourced to artificial intelligence.
What is your teaching
Yes.
philosophy? What are the subjects that you currently teach? Can you explain and give us?
I don't know whether I can talk about teaching philosophy because I think 2020 October 5th, I started my full-time teaching, in a formal setup. So 2020 means this is fifth year running, but I don't know how much I can speak about teaching philosophy. I think main idea of teaching is to get uh, you know uh, to get to transfer or to transform the students, not just with the information, but um, you should um, you should uh, you know create some kind of change in their attitude, because I'm teaching literature and humanities, so at least a small degree of change in their attitude and perspective, uh, if I'm able to inspire that kind of a small degree of change, that is good. Of course, other things are important, how well uh, you know you are transferring the knowledge that you have to the students, and how much interest you evoke in the student with respect to your subject. They should also feel that they are learning their own subject. It is not that uh, the subject is not just my subject. They should also feel that they are learning, this subject, which is their own. So that kind of a, that kind of a intersubjective, space, should evolve in teaching. Both the teacher and the student should, um, should uh, um, um, talk about, or should um, create ideas in that field of knowledge which takes place in the classroom actually. So both the student and the teacher should at one point should um, converse, discuss, contribute, uh, you know so because students also can, or students also come up with new things that the teacher might have not thought.
Yeah.
So those things should happen. Those things can happen only if if the teacher evokes interest among the students in the particular subject which the teacher teaches. So the teacher can start teaching in the initial time, but as the sessions go on, the students also should, the both of them, should, come to an equal plane where both, contribute, ideas to the field of, inquiry actually. So first, maybe first class, the teacher and student will be like this. Teacher will be giving knowledge, but as the classes go on and on and on, I think students also should reach the level of the teacher and contribute ideas to the field of inquiry. So that is ideal thing, but I don't know how much I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know. You should ask my students actually. Yeah, I'm not sure how
Yeah.
good I'm a teacher. That I cannot tell. You should ask my students actually.
What subjects do you teach?
I teach some, after coming to IIT Kanpur, I have taught courses like Indian literature, and then a paper called the Literature and Profession, and then Introduction to Literature. So these are the three courses I have taught for the undergraduate. So out of this, Literature and Profession is a course I designed, for the undergraduate. So this course actually talks about how work or profession is represented in different literary texts like novel, poetry, drama. So this is the content of the course. So I'll be talking about philosophy of work from the Western philosophy, and then I'll be talking about how literary text engage with the idea called profession, which forms an important part of all our lives. So how literature, engage with it. That is the content of the course. And for the PhD, I'm teaching a course called Nation Theory Literature. So that is also a course that I have developed. So there we are talking about different theoretical understanding about nation and how literature engage with the idea called nationalism and nation. So that is the content. And then I'm also teaching contemporary critical theory, which is theories of literature, uh, you know, uh, which has evolved after 1960s. So that is the another paper I'm teaching, and yeah, these are the courses. So totally fine.
One last question I thought I should ask. Who is
Sure.
your motivator?
Motivator for what? For my
PhD, overall.
uh one, I cannot pin down to one person. A lot of people are there. Of course, my professor, he's a big persuasive force, during my PhD and even now. But so that is the first thing, and then of course, a lot of good. I'm always surrounded by very good people actually, so I'm very lucky in that manner. So a lot of people in my PhD. So my friend Parvati, um, she has read a lot, very good in thinking. So I have learned a lot from her, and all my PhD, post scholars, my own, those who work with Professor Vinod during my time. So my friends Shwati, Shintu, Anupama, Vishaka. So all of them motivated. All of them motivate means they won't come and lecture you. Their actions and their conversations will help you find this persuasion energy. So and another other people, Sri Ganesh, my good friend. So this in PhD, this idea of discussion is very very important. Of course, though PhD is solid, is a work that is done in solitude, because it is you who has who has to who have to read, think, write. But you should always have a good group to put your ideas fearlessly and without any kind of without any insecurity. Because I don't know, these days people say, oh, we cannot share our ideas because other people will steal our ideas. I don't know what to steal actually, especially in humanities research, what to steal, what ideas to steal, because you know there are very few ideas that we are expressing in different manner, different sophisticated manner. So what is there to steal? So you should not have all these, without all these insecurities. You should be able to share your ideas, put your ideas, and build conversation with your friends. peers. So that was there in my PhD days. Sri Ganesh was there, Parvati was there, Swati, everybody was there, Shilpu, Vishaka Anupama, everybody was there actually. So we talk a lot about the work which we are doing in a very casual, very, tea conversation like that. So that kind of a thing was there. So that was very motivating actually. Yeah. And even now, wonderful, people around. So you can, share your ideas, uh, build conversation. So that should be there actually um, for academics and for your personal journey. Good people. So good people always motivate me.
So it was a very amazing experiences that you've shared, starting from research, what your life experiences, and I guess you are a true motivator because looking at you, I think could be like a lot of people who are going to get inspired. Um, and thank you so much for your valuable time that you've shared with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Muthukumar. Thank you so much.
I'm very happy, and indeed, I have to thank you for inviting me to, share my experiences. I don't know how far it will be useful, but I'm very thankful for you to, giving me this platform to uh, express my, experience. So I'm very thankful to you. It's a good, conversation. I enjoyed thoroughly.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.